Do you ever read somebody's one sentence bio and you realize that they're a lot more interesting than you are? That, that happened with this episode's guest, Amina Mirza. Now, Amina likes to spend her free time horse riding in Iceland, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. She reads novels, she comments on Korean dramas, and follows Korean pop music. But she is here on the Write Like a Badass podcast because she also writes. We're going to talk to her about her first novel, The Mermaid and the Mini Horse. Amina, welcome.
Thank you very much. That is a lovely introduction.
I was amazed by your bio. And am I saying your name correctly?
You were saying it right.
Okay. Well, let us start with the obvious. You've got a lot of different activities going on. So why have you decided to write?
I had the idea. And then, as luck or serendipity or whatever you want to call it, had it, I finally found a book that showed me how to write, or at least that suited me personally in how to write. And it's called How to Write a Novel in 6 Months by Thomas Emson. I'm not sure it took exactly 6 months, but it it gave me a technique, let's say. And I think a lot of writing comes down to technique. I mean, as somebody who is working as an attorney, we have our techniques and how we do things. And this was a chance to apply a technique to an idea I had. And honestly, his technique is basically do some daily free writing and then edit it later, but it worked.
Whatever technique he gave you, did you actually write every single day?
Almost. No, I wouldn't say I wrote every single day. I had breaks of like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because, life gets in the way. But then I would keep trying to pull myself back to it. And a lot of times I'd feel like, oh, I don't know if I can go on, or I just can't do it. And I'd tell myself, just a sentence, just write a sentence. Look where you left off, right? And I'd write 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sentences or something. So I tell myself, good, some progress. And then every day I'd try and do a little bit more. And there were days when I just couldn't even do that one sentence, but that's fine, as long as it got finished. Then it came pretty close. Like I think I had about 2/3 of it done. And I did the last third during NaNoWriMo. So I finished NaNoWriMo early compared to other people. But it was my first time doing NaNoWriMo.
Wait. You finished that early? And for anyone who isn't familiar, we're talking about this initiative that invites people to write an entire novel or the first draft of a novel in 1 month, November. And you
Right.
finished early.
I finished early because I'd already done 2/3 before the month started.
Okay. All right.
That's fine. So I
I
was
feel
doing my
better.
last third, but I used the NaNoWriMo framework, and they have on Blue Sky writing times. They were like, okay, we're starting. So I go, okay, I'm doing it now. And that's how I did it. So
I
that was how the first draft got done. And I was busy telling people around that I had told about writing a novel. I wrote it. I wrote it. Oh my God, I wrote it.
It's a great feeling, isn't it, when you finally finish or feel like you finished?
Yeah, I didn't realize there was still a ton of work to do.
Then we're going to get to all that. But first, you describe The Mermaid and the Mini Horse as a fishy fairy tale. Can you go into some detail on that?
So fairy tales are not actually for children, or they weren't originally. It's only the last couple of 100 years or so that they started being more for children and sanitized for children. The Grimm's brothers, who collected a whole load of folklore and fairy tales, I think, from the various Germanic lands, when they first published, at that point, parents started complaining. I guess consumer society was starting to really develop, and parents complained that they didn't want to give such pagan violence to their children. So,
Wow. They were pretty
and they were
dark.
living, yeah, sorry.
The fairy tales were pretty dark.
They were extremely dark. And I mean, I was just looking over one that was, I think it was The Princess and the Frog. It was not. I mean, yeah, they're dark. I didn't get to read through all of it today because I thought, let me give that as an example, but I didn't get to. But if you look at them and you look at like some of the descriptions of the original fairy tales as they were, they're dark. They're basically horror fantasy.
Yes.
People love to read horror and they love to read fantasy, and that's not that different from your old fashioned fairy tale. And I didn't even realize I had written a fairy tale until one of my beta readers says, this is a great fairy tale, And then she gave some edits.
And that reframed it for you,
It did actually, because at that point I was like, I'm not sure what I'm writing. I just have this idea and I'm going to write it.
which is the best way to approach
Yeah.
fiction writing, I think. And you said you finished it, but you didn't realize how much more work you had to do. What did that entail? Did you do a lot of revising? Did you have an outside editor work with you?
I did. His pen name is K-Popalypse. He writes a Korean pop blog, and he also writes books about Korean, the fiction books about Korean pop groups. So I totally recommend his books. But anyway, he was somebody who offered editing services to anybody who had read his book, like contact him. And I'd been in touch, and he said, okay, I'll look it over for you. So he gave some, and as somebody who wasn't going to be the audience for this book, because there's a lot of horse terms, and like I said, it's more of a fairy tale type story, and that's not what he writes. So it was interesting to see what he said, like the issues he raised. So I would raise those same issues. Like I have two characters in there, Irish Sport Horse 1 and Irish Sport Horse 2. So I was like asking the beta readers, the other beta readers, do you have an issue with the fact that they are Irish Sport Horse 1 and Irish Sport Horse 2? They were also not horsey people. They said, no, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
So
All
I was
right.
like, that's 2 against 1. Okay. But the point is, he raised the issue. So it was good. It was somebody who had experience as a developmental editor and very kindly helped me out with my book.
Was there anything he said that surprised you
Um,
or discouraged you?
well, that was that. The Irish sport horse, giving them names, because I was like, this is fun calling them Irish sport horses 1 and 2. Um, he said something, he gave some good ideas for shaping up the story, developing characters who were more interesting and did not have enough in the story. And so I was able to fill out and pad out the story as a result. And he also made some good points about like one character being, I guess, sanctified when you hardly got to know her. And I was like, that's a good point. She's not really a big part of this story. Why am I having people talk about her so amazingly? I should be focusing on other things.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Now, this is your first fiction writing, is that correct?
this is the very first time I'm doing fiction writing since I was in high school.
Do you have to write a lot for your job as an attorney? And did that, if you do, did that help you with this at all?
Not at all. It's a very stylized type of writing, and you have to follow certain rules and everything. And basically, you have to watch how you say things. And we do a team writing process in my office, and so it's not the same as this, which was very independent and very completely, my own.
Well, this must have been a great outlet for you then. You get to do what you want to do instead of
Oh yeah,
follow some rigid rules.
exactly. I wanted to use entirely my voice. So, like, I wanted not to be speaking as I'm supposed to speak, say, in this particular document. I wanted to say, this is me saying things. Like, I didn't want to be thinking in terms of, I don't know, I really know how else to put it, but I just wanted my voice in it.
Amina, not Amina the attorney.
Yeah, as an Amina the person.
Okay. All right.
Amina the person who had this idea and is now writing it out.
Did anything surprise you about the writing process itself? Because as you said, this is your first time writing fiction.
Well, I what surprised me was that the free writing method that I was following, a lot just came out of it. The story just moved forward. So I always thought I would have to like outline everything down to the last detail, and that was not the case. The story took its own shape.
There are writers who describe themselves as pantsers, and there are writers who do all the outlining and plan very carefully what they're going to write. And it sounds like you might be more of a pantser, or to put it more nicely, a discovery writer.
A discovery, right?
I like being a pantser, but you are planning to self-publish. Why? And what platform or platforms are you going to use for that?
I was looking into that today as I was trying to I was hoping to have an Amazon page for you, but unfortunately I can't do it yet. I'm waiting on my artist, my cover artist. Basically, Amazon first. I think there was something about, I can't remember what it was called, Kindle something or the other, but basically you get to use Kindle, your novel automatically gets put on Kindle Unlimited for 3 months, but you can't use any other platform. So my plan is now June 2nd to publish the novel then for both Kindle and for paperback on Amazon. And then 3 months later, I'll expand to Kobo and other platforms. I was thinking of using draft to digital. I guess when I have time, I'll look more into that.
Who are your readers going to be, do you think? Do you have any demographics in mind or readers who prefer certain types of stories?
I suppose horse girls who like fantasy.
And how do you intend to promote your book?
I plan to promote my book. Honestly, I don't really know. I'm just going to try and put some excerpts out there. I have some screenshots ready to put out over the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and on socials. And then after that, I really don't know because that part is something I've got no clue about. And if you have a podcast episode to direct me to that is on marketing, please let me know.
Okay, actually, I'm about to line up a marketer who will give us all tips on that. That is the hardest part of any
Yeah.
self-publishing author. Honestly,
Yeah.
you're not alone in that. Getting it to the attention, getting your book to the attention of readers is a challenge.
I was thinking one thing I might do is take a few copies to local free library locations and leaving copies there.
I like that. There are also local bookstores that might be willing to stock your book.
Yeah, I will ask. But at the moment, this is like so far my plan, socials and the free libraries. And I'm not sure, actually. I will have to listen to your marketing podcast. I think I have a little bit of time.
And once your book becomes available, please send me the links and I will include that. I will revise the show notes to include that. So anybody listening to this now or in the future will be able to get a hold of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah, of course. Now, you are active in I was very interested to see this. You're active in a Tumblr group, Writing Tea and Tips. I love that name. Earl Grey, please. Now, this is a community where writers talk about writing and ask and get writing advice, and it has 41,000 members. Amina, what do you get out of belonging to this group, and why did you join it?
I joined it because I wanted an online writing group. And when I remembered I had a Tumblr, so I looked in and to see if there were any writing communities. So yeah, I ended up joining in and I actually found people that are pretty supportive. And I had some nice interactions with people as well. Like somebody was talking about writing a book about the woman being more masculine and the man being more feminine. And I said, oh, that reminds me of a Chinese drama that I know, and looked it up for her. So we had like some back and forth.
Mhm.
So basically it's, support. And I think because writing is such a solitary process, it's good to have that support.
Oh, it is. And it's a little surprising because online, I read something and I know if I go to the comments, there will be something negative. Even if it's the most innocuous video, there will be someone making a negative statement. It just seems like the internet brings that out in people, or at least gives them the freedom to. So it's nice that you got a safe space to be a writer.
Yeah, exactly. I think they don't tolerate people being negative to each other on that. Like either you like it or you stay quiet.
Well, and
Which
that,
I mean, or you give some constructive criticism,
Mhm.
which
Right.
is fine.
That can be difficult for administrators to try and stay on top of all the comments, especially if there are a lot of them. That can be a full-time job.
I imagine people flag them. Like if something's really abusive, they must flag them.
Hmm. I ask this question of everyone, and I think it's especially important because you are a first-time novelist. What advice would you give to other first-time novelists?
Uh, I would say consider how you would like to work. Like for me, I wanted to change from my very ordered way of doing things. And it was very freeing to free write. Somebody else may like to do things in a very ordered way. And so find something that helps you, gives you some guidance, because it's very easy then to get lost in the forest, I guess, wondering which tree to go by. So for me, it helped the book that I mentioned. I mean, I mentioned it because it helped me and I wanted to see if it would help anyone else.
Hmm.
Um, I would say, but I know from experience over decades that I've often thought, oh, I'd like to write a novel. I just don't know what. And it was fortunate I had this idea this time. But each time I would come up with something or some course or book or something on writing, it never spoke to me, as in this can really work for me. So it just was serendipitous to find something that worked for me. Um, but I would say that it really came down to I needed somebody who would like suit my lifestyle. Like I was able to get in that free writing. I did a lot of my writing on my phone. Um, and this is something that I actually saw, Author Abby Jimenez. I also follow her for her dogs. Um, and so I saw something of hers randomly where she's answering a question and she goes, how did I write my first book? I wrote it on my phone. And I looked at my phone and I went, huh, never thought of that.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. How does that even work?
You just
Do,
type
do
on
you
your
do you
phone.
do audio text? Do you text in your phone?
Yeah, for a lot, I wrote a lot of this book on the phone. I just opened Google Docs and wrote in it.
That's so interesting because your phone is always with you. So you
Yeah.
don't have to make an appointment to write. I just think it would be I type pretty quickly and I think it would be so slow. I do have a little tiny keyboard that I've taken when I've traveled.
Mhm.
But even that is difficult because your fingers are used to a bigger keyboard, and that really works for you.
It worked, yeah. I mean, I have a big idea for novel number two. I'm going to start it on my phone.
And we're going to get to that. First, though, can you tell us, because we kind of skipped over it a little bit, can you tell us a little bit more about the mermaid and the mini horse? Can you give us a sketch of it?
Um, it is okay. The idea originally came from TikToks on elites eating mermaids and
Wait, run that by me again.
elites eating mermaids.
What
You
is
can
it?
literally search elites eating mermaids on TikToks and videos will come up with people telling tales about this.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
look that up. Wow.
So that's where the idea came from. And then as for the story itself, I was like, well, what if somebody from a mermaid pod got caught, got eaten, managed to escape? Well, before being fully eaten, just injured someone. So the storyline started with that. And then it's about one of the members of that pod, which includes not just mermaids and mermen, but Cacalia. I think that's Cicalia. Should know how to pronounce it, but I often get it wrong, which is an idea of somebody who's like humanoid torso on top of octopus legs.
And there's a
And
term for that already?
yeah, there's a term for that.
Oh, oh.
Um, and then I know the things I found out about doing this book. Um, and then I threw in a selkie because why not? Why don't we have a selkie? And it occurred to me like humans like having horses. What if mermaids like having seahorses? So we have some kelpies in there.
A kelpie is a seahorse?
Well, river seahorse, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not doubting you. I'm just trying to keep it all straight. I'm not
Yeah.
getting
So
all
one
the
of the characters is a kelpie. And the mermaid basically goes after people who have hurt her kelpie. And in the process, she comes across the mini horse. And the mini horse has her revenge desires as well as certain things that she wants the mermaid to do to keep her secure. And they team up. They have a troop of seagulls who help them along. It's a bit of a Greek chorus of seagulls. The whole thing is set in Ireland in a little fictional seaside town there, not like a commuter town for Dublin.
hmm
So
Would you describe this as a dark fantasy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would call it PG.
Hmm.
There's no romance in it or anything. I mean, there is a couple having some issues, but there's no romance in it.
So not a romanticy.
It's not a romantic novel, it's a friendship novel.
I'm curious as to why you didn't try to seek literary representation. Was that not on the table for you, or
I just thought the story and the book were too different from anything I saw online. And usually with companies, they want something that fits into something that they already know will sell. And B, going back to I wanted my voice out there. I didn't want them trying to get me to change things, add things in. I didn't want to add in things like that. I just wanted it to be entirely my work.
you wanted you wanted complete creative control?
Complete creative control. Yeah.
I hear that again and again. I mean, there are some certain obviously benefits to getting a literary agent who might be able to place your book with a publisher and you get a whole different marketing system in place. But yes, you are right. Speaking of creative control, how are you coming up with the cover image for your book?
I, okay, going back to my K-pop roots, for I'm part of one fandom, and I have for some years been in touch with a girl who was studying to be a graphic designer and illustrator, and she recently graduated. So I just asked her, I looked at some of the way she drew and everything. I said, this is the idea I have. And she gave me a few sample ideas. We worked it through and it worked out.
All right.
So
That's
this is going to be her first freelance project, and it's for my first novel.
perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. It'll be a good outing for both of you.
exactly.
I've had an unsatisfactory experience with a cover artist, and then so after that, I tended to put together my own using Photoshop because I'm old school, and some images that I would get, and obviously you can do the text, but I would much prefer to have an artist do it, probably for my next one.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. No, I'd be happy to recommend her to you if you're interested, but this is literally her first thing. She doesn't even have a portfolio out. I
Oh,
just happen
nice.
to know her from my online forays.
It was very nice of you to give her that opportunity.
It seemed like the best choice, really. And, I knew I'd be able to talk to her.
Now, you mentioned you've already got a second book in mind. What is that? What is that going to be?
I'm just going to say that it's another fairy tale. So, cheeky again.
All right. You don't want to give away too much too early, do you?
It's too early for me to say anything about it. I need to like formulate it, do a bit of like, this time around, I think I'm going to try formulating the characters ahead of time, like maybe on my trip when I have free time on my phone.
Now, although I've loved talking about your writing, I'm curious about all the horseback riding you do in various countries, including Iceland, which I've been to and I love. And if anybody listening is thinking about going, go. It is a
Yeah.
unique place. And Iceland horses are very different. For people who don't know, you're not allowed to bring horses into Iceland. And if a horse leaves Iceland, they're not allowed to come back. And that is to protect the native horses from diseases that are in the outside world. What is it like to ride them? They're smaller than typical horses, are they not?
Well, I'm pretty petite myself, so they actually work out really well for me height-wise. Riding them, they are surprisingly a bit aloof in temperament. Or maybe the ones I was riding are so used to people like riding different people riding them that they don't really care, about which human is riding them. So they seemed a bit aloof in temperament. They're very cute, very fluffy. Riding them, they have this gait called the tolt, and it is really nice and smooth. I can't remember, I think it's a 5 beat gait.
Is no other horse has that elsewhere?
There are different types of pleasure riding breeds like the Pasofino from this side of the world. I think the Pasofino, I can't remember which country it originated in, but basically they're gated horse breeds. And the Icelandic horse is a gated horse. The Pasofino is one, Tennessee Walker.
Mm.
Um, And what they do is, I think Tennessee Walker, again, don't quote me on that. But what these horses do is they give you a nice smooth gait that basically lets you go long distances with minimal wear and tear on your body.
Oh, nice. And they're rugged horses, aren't they? They have to put up with the
Very
there,
rugged. I
which,
mean, sure-footed, so nice.
how long have you been involved with riding?
Some years now, I mostly go to a Sunday class nowadays, but for a while there I was doing hunter jumper, nothing too fancy, more low jumps. And yeah, it's been about 10, 15 years now. I actually haven't counted. But I do
And
love going. I love seeing horses. I don't have any pets at home, so this is my animal time.
and horses make their way into your fiction, clearly.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And
Because,
it's hilarious that you mentioned K-pop and Korean dramas because my sister is nagging me. I have to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, which
oh yeah, I should watch that too sometime.
yeah, I have seen. There's a hilarious Saturday Night Live sketch about it
Oh,
with Bad Bunny, and it
I saw that.
so funny.
Yeah.
But I've become more and more interested in Korean dramas. There is just something about them that is so interesting. And I have to say, I think the writing is great in
Well,
so
it's
many
all,
of them.
they usually have women writers.
Is that it? Is that the
Yes,
reason they're so good?
I think so. I think that's a lot of the reason why they are also very story driven. So if the first thing I noticed with Korean dramas when I first started watching them was the amount of sheer plot.
Yes.
And I was thinking, well, yeah, that's how things happen in real. I mean, maybe not like a Korean drama, but in real life, this happens and that happens, and you have to deal with this and you have to deal with that. And it's not just this action and that action.
Oh, no car chases? No, no explosions?
Depends.
Yeah. I also find it fascinating to learn more about the culture as I'm watching these shows.
Yes.
Just the system of bowing and who bows to whom and the respect for elders. It's amazing to me and how low you bow has to do with who you're bowing to, I think, or what you're bowing about.
Right. No, I noticed. I remember watching one Korean. I like the daily dramas a lot, and I remember one Korean daily drama. The main character gave such a like a little like with her neck, just an inclination to the villain. And n now, after some experience watching these things, I remembered that scene struck me at the time, but I wasn't sure what, and I realized that was just being snarky on her part.
Oh, it was a snarky bow,
It
right?
was a snarky little neck incline.
Wow. See the things we can learn. I mean, this is very interesting to me, and I do always appreciate good writing when I see it in television and or TV series. And boy,
Yeah.
when it's bad writing, you can tell right away, right
Oh,
away.
totally, totally. And that was actually another thing when it came to like self-publishing my book. I thought so many people write absolute rubbish and they get it published. Why can't I do it too?
Mhm. They do.
I mean, why not have the satisfaction? Oh, and there was something else regarding Iceland. My last trip to Iceland, they told us in the tour that Icelandic people love to read and write. So nearly every other Icelander is writing a book.
I heard that. I
And
heard
I
that.
was thinking that many, and that's fantastic. And if they can do it, why can't I? So
Yes. Why, yes. Why
it's
can't that happen
inspiring.
in the US, really, with that level of literacy? They have
Yeah,
tremendous literacy there.
yeah.
Not that I'm picking on people, but honestly, I think we'd all be happier if we read more books.
I think so. It would be nice. I've noticed just in day-to-day life, you sort of realize this person can read and that person can't.
Hmm.
You know, like if you are ordering something or doing something or whatever, you have to, so many times I've had to just explain things that are already written.
Well, it is interesting. There was a time when, for instance, independent bookstores were said to be a thing of the past. They were all going out of business. They are back, and
Yeah,
there's an intense online community of people who love to read, of
yeah,
book lovers, whether it's book talk or other kinds of communities. And I think reading is definitely here to stay,
yeah.
especially fiction reading.
Fiction reading is so soothing. I mean, if you want to calm yourself down, even if it's like an intense book, I think it's the eyes going from side to side. It makes the brain calm down. And then you can absorb all this information as well, like whatever you're reading. And so it's nice if it could be the best writing possible, but frankly, if it's not the best writing possible and you're still getting something in terms of plot and story and character and some developing some empathy for other people, then it's doing its job. Like
What?
everything doesn't have to be a Jane Austen novel.
No. What kind of writing, what kind of reading do you usually like? Or what do
I
you usually
actually,
like
one
to
of
read?
the things that all got me into this and also made me think, oh, hold on a second, I think I've done a fairy tale, is I like T. Kingfisher's books a lot. And I remember reading something of hers once where she said, I can't remember if there's an interview online or what, where she said, I write fairy tales. And I recommend a book of hers called What Moves the Dead. It's like a Gothic novel, Gothic thriller based on Edgar Allan Poe's House of Usher. It's very interesting. You learn a lot actually in that book. Beautifully written, very interesting historical novel.
What moves the dead?
What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. And then what else? I also, I think I've read every single Terry Pratchett novel like at least 3 times.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I was very into his writing. And again, that's, fantasy writing, I guess, which seems to be where I'm going. But yeah, I enjoyed those two writers a lot. I also like AJ Slatter. She's created like this whole universe called the Sourdough Universe. And she has different books within it. And it's very women-centered, which I enjoy a lot.
You've given me a whole bunch of new books I have to get and read now. Thanks a lot. I don't have the time. We are running out of time for this. Anything, any pearls of wisdom you'd like to read? Any pearls of wisdom you'd like to leave listeners with?
No, I'm not good at pearls of wisdom. If they got any pearls of wisdom out of anything I said, then I'm really flattered.
Well, I hope your book does very, very well. I will read it when it becomes available. I'm fascinated. It just sounds so unlike anything I've read recently, and I like that.
I have to say, I Googled the combination of words several times and they never came up anywhere. I mean, I don't think anyone's written a book with this combination of characters and this kind of storyline before. So I feel like it's got that going for it. And that was another reason for not going for a literary agent because, well, I think I already said that. It didn't fit into categories that they'd probably go for.
And they want categories.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Amina. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. So if that's the pearl of wisdom, if it doesn't, you don't have to worry about categories, just write and enjoy yourself.
That is a good pearl of wisdom. All right. Thank you.